Hello, everyone. I don't usually post these kind of videos, but I thought in honor of Mental Health Day today, I would. I had the opportunity just a little while ago to sit on a panel alongside three other incredible women, a panel organized by Unilever to address the important topic of mental health. And as the panel came to a close, I was left with this feeling that there is one personal experience that I should have shared because I somehow feel that it may relate to many of you out there. So I just figured I'd mention it in a video instead. Right now, with all the disruption, the complexity, the trauma brought by the COVID-19 pandemic, the feeling of isolation and everything that's going on in the world, most of us are experiencing some level of mental health distress, whether we feel sad, whether we feel we have a difficult time coping, whether our feeling of self-worth is declining, whether we feel depressed. Everyone is in the same boat to one level or another. And I find that many of us fear to speak up because we just don't feel legitimized to experience and feel the way we feel. After all, if we still have a job, or if we still have our health, or if we still have somebody who loves us, or if we still have a place where we can sleep or a shelter, who are we to complain? There are people out there that have it so much worse. And although it's true, we can always find somebody who has it so much worse. What we are feeling is indeed our experience and is not any less important. And so very often that feeling of guilt is what actually prevents us from speaking up and seeking help. Very often, even the people around us are the first to say, oh, come on, you shouldn't be feeling like this. Is not that big of a deal. Look at what's happening in the world. Well, let me share an experience with you and something that was said to me once, something simple, but that really made a difference. In 2016, I unfortunately lost a very wanted late pregnancy. And it was a very difficult time for me. It was a very traumatic experience. And it inevitably led to a series of mental health difficulties that impacted my feeling of self-worth, impacted my energy, impacted my relationship with my extended family. And being a strong advocate of seeking help, I immediately went to see a counselor. And what I realized after, weeks of talking through my problems and really not feeling better is that I was held back by this underlying feeling of guilt. At the end of the day, I was healthy. I had a husband who loved me. I had a healthy daughter. I had a job. Who was I to complain? And so one day I was sitting there with my counselor and I said, I was reading the news today and I just have this feeling of anxiety that comes from, everything I'm reading about the world. I empathize with, all these people that have no food, that are victims of natural disaster, that are sick, all these horrible things you read in the paper. And I told my counselor, I just feel like the problems I'm experiencing, they're just first world problems. And I started crying. And I remember that she looked at me with a very calm, compassionate face. And she said, yes, Rachel, they may be first world problems, but they are problems these other people do not have. They are nonetheless your problems. And you have every right to feel the way you feel. And you have every right to legitimize and acknowledge those feelings without feeling guilty about them. And when she said that to me, all of a sudden, the fog lifted and I started being on my way to recovery. I started realizing that it was okay to feel the way that I feel. And that sense of guilt was just holding me back from actually being able to give myself the love, the empathy, the compassion that I needed in order to get better. So anyways, for any of you out there who are struggling but feel guilty because you feel that, at the end of the day, there's who has it worse. Yes, there's always going to be someone who has it worse in general terms. But what you're feeling is nonetheless real. Embrace it. Give yourself what you need. And that's going to be a big part of feeling better, of recovering, and of finding your balance again. So I hope this helps somehow. I hope that some of you can resonate with this. But I know that, this statement, what my counselor said that day, is something that I will always remember. It made a very big difference for me. And I do think about it every time that I feel down and I struggle logically justifying why I feel the way I feel. So I hope it works for you too. Anyways, let's all recognize the importance of mental health. Let's all be there for each other, and let's not be afraid to seek the help that we need, especially during these difficult times.